very much for watching the Entertainment Weekly coverage here at Comic-Con. I am here with a significant amount of the cast of Showtime's Twin Peaks. Thank you all for being here today. Kyle MacLachlan, nobody knew what to expect from this season of Twin Peaks. Fair to say, none of us realized how many characters you'd be playing on this season. What's it been like, what was your reaction when you discovered what your kind of arc was going to be in this season? What's it been like inhabiting radically different sides of Dale Cooper's personality, or of, other characters' personalities?
It was, as you can imagine, it was exciting. I was very honored, I guess, that David gave me the opportunity to try these other really interesting characters, because there wasn't anybody else he could go to. It was Cooper, and I better be able to do it. So, so I was really kind of touched that he had that much faith that I could do justice to those roles. So that was the first thing.
And, following Dougie's journey through this season, I think it's just been so wonderful and very lighthearted in a way. And I'd love to kind of ask Naomi, you've worked with David Lynch before on Mulholland Drive, and I believe you were a rabbit in Inland Empire, if I recall correctly.
No, not in Inland. Actually, what? I can't
It's very
remember.
confusing. I shouldn't have brought up Inland Empire. I'm sorry.
No, it's not. It was its own thing. But anyway.
I'd be intrigued to know what kind of conversation did you have about Janey-E with him? I mean, as you were kind of getting into this character who has such a key role in sort of what Kyle is doing this season too.
Well, I didn't know what Kyle was doing in other places, and even sometimes some of the scenes I was in, certain lines of dialogue were crossed out. So I just knew what I had, and we just went with it. And having worked with David before, you have all those questions, and they don't get answered. So you just give yourself over, and it's always a fun ride.
After this most recent episode, things seem very happy in the Jones household. Can we be happy about that? What should we be feeling going into the back half of the show?
That's all credit to Naomi. She made that whole thing work.
But I want to shift back to the town of Twin Peaks. Dana, Bobby Briggs' original run of Twin Peaks, he was in a different place than he is now, I think it's fair to say. And I think it's been really kind of moving seeing where he's at now and seeing just, Deputy Briggs and the change. What was it like kind of playing the character after so many years had passed and him being in a different place now than he was in the first season?
Wow, it was really amazing to see that Bobby changed so much, and so it was really fun for me to be able to kind of switch it up. And I remember on the first day, I had a scene. I can't tell you who was in it, but
you did point over there.
I didn't mean to.
Could be right there.
Man, you're probably I know $1 million to Showtime. So I was doing my first scene, and I remember I walked in. It was the first thing I'd done since we came back, and David just was like, maybe not so weird. Just not so weird. Because I hate to give you that direction, but not so weird.
David Lynch told you, not so weird.
He didn't like giving me that direction either, but he had to, I think. So calmed it down. And it was fun. It was fun, really a great thing to play a character that had an arc like that. So it was fun.
While we're back there, Everett, Big Ed.
Big E.
All the Big Ed fans are wondering, where is he? What's going on?
He's in every scene, but he's taking a nap. I remember I got my scenes and the pages were blank. I mean, they had nothing on it. I called Margaret and said, "How the hell am I going to do this, man? There's nothing on the page." He said, "Well, you don't have to worry about that." He said, "Because every time we see Big Ed, he's sleeping."
I wouldn't put anything past him at this point. Further down there, Kimmy, there was a wonderful scene early in this season where we saw the family that has sprouted up around Lucy and Andy. What was it like working on that scene with the Wally Brando, which I feel like that scene just jumped out to people so early in the show?
Wow, it was really fun. First of all, to know that I had a son and that he was all grown up and a biker, yes, and such a cool biker. And then that whole speech that he thought he was going to have to do 20 times like you do in other shows. He only had to do it twice.
That's incredible, that whole sort of huge soliloquy that he gives.
All together, all at once, yes. He's good actor.
Well, and that gets something that, everyone's always so intrigued by, just how David Lynch works on projects, and especially a project of this size. I mean, Don, I'd be intrigued to know, you have a career that stretches all the way back to working with Marilyn Monroe. Well, what's it like working with David Lynch as a filmmaker? How does it compare to some of the other projects that you've worked
Well, since I began in silent movies, it was very different. There's an atmosphere on the set that is so playful and it's marvelous, and as I think it's one of the happiest sets I've ever been on. And it begins with David and also the people that he's cast. These leads that we have are such good people, generous people, so it's wonderful to work with them.
Sweet.
I'm a lead.
That is
big time.
That is the
Janey
biggest.
is the star of the show. Come on.
That is the biggest scoop about Twin Peaks that anyone's gotten. But
Mic drop.
I'd love to know though, hearing what it feels like on the set. Like Matthew, you had a scene a couple episodes ago, the scuba diving scene. Just the tone of that speech and how it shifted from joy to sorrow.
Why is that
to-
funny?
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
It was, but it was
Anakin moment.
funny and sad at the same time. And I'd love to know
It's a miserable thing to watch.
what's that sort of what's the conversation like before you filmed that? Like, what's it like filming a scene like that just goes to so many different
Yeah,
emotional
there's no
places?
conversation. I mean, you kind of walk in and you load in and you shoot and you're out. I mean, there's not really a lot of in between. Like, you do 2 takes and you move on, and you really want to be good at least one of them.
What was it? I mean, just like the emotions of that scene. I mean, by the end, were you just wrecked? I mean,
Oh
like,
yeah,
where
it's
that guy goes
miserable to
is-
shoot. I mean, the whole thing was miserable to experience. Look, it was one of those scenes that in the middle of the dialogue on the page, it says hysterically sobbing. So you know that there's like a moment that they're looking for, and you're either gonna be really bad in that moment, or you're gonna try to do the best you can and crush it. So.
You crushed it.
You crushed it.
Absolutely
crushed it.
Speaking of crushing it, we haven't seen too much of James this season, but we did get confirmation James has always been cool.
Yeah.
Is that true, and will that continue to be the case throughout the rest of the season?
That is true.
It's absolutely. I mean, like, are you cool? I don't know. Yeah.
Quite clearly
I'm
not.
just kind of what Kyle said earlier. I'm just very grateful to be a part of it. It's just such a huge thing, in many ways.
Well, and the hugeness of it, I mean, hearing you guys describe just how little everybody kind of knows about the grand product. I mean, like, each week, are you just kind of wondering, like, Tim, like, did you have any clarity about where in the story your character would fit in, or
None.
where in the season?
Didn't have a clue. The only thing that was interesting, or that I found out before I went in, was that I was working with Jennifer Jason Leigh, and that, and we just worked together. But he cast us independent of Hateful Eight.
Mhm.
It just happened to be that way.
Well, and on the topic of secrecy, I think one of the things people have reacted to so much is the fact that each episode, just given the size of the cast, the size of the show, really no way of knowing where it's going, how cosmic it's going to get. But I'd be intrigued to know, Kyle, as much people are enjoying this show, there is this sense of like wanting to see Dale Cooper again, whatever that might mean, and whoever Dale Cooper is now. I don't know. What would you say to fans who are kind of like are liking what the season is, but also yearning?
Can we turn the cameras off, please?
Stare towards the camera, shut them off, do something
exactly.
really fun.
Who killed Laura Palmer?
We still don't really know, I
I
think.
can't really go into much detail about it.
What's it, just in general, can you talk about being back at the center of this, so many years after the original run? How has it been like,
Yeah.
just sort of seeing the reaction to the show? and
That's
seeing how the fans have
extraordinary.
reacted?
Fans have embraced it. It's everything I think David hoped in that it's really his vision. He and Mark wrote the script. David's directed every episode. This is David Lynch's Twin Peaks, and we are getting it as an audience, mainlined right into the big vein. So, I think it's extraordinary. I think it's an amazing thing for television.
Cast of Twin Peaks, thank you so much for everything you've done on the show. Thank you so much for being here. And stick around for more here at the Entertainment Weekly Comic-Con Lounge.